Sorry about that, guys. Welcome to FS22. I am just getting set up for a stream that I really didn't intend on doing here, but we are going to do that because we can. Alright, so welcome back to Frankenmuth, FS22. Just getting everything set up on my simple life stream. Alright, so we are in the last day of June. I've got the Challenger hooked up to my grain cart here. We've got a new combine to do the combining with, but of course that will have to... Basically that'll have to wait till tomorrow morning. In-game, when it becomes wheat harvest season. Alright. Get ourselves hooked up here. You can see we have a 635 F header. This is an old school header. And I am just towing that into place right here. Gonna leave that. Sorry guys, I had a long day at work today, but that doesn't mean anything. It just means we're gonna kick some butt and take some names. Alright, so all I need to do is rest and then we'll be ready to go. Sorry for the delay here. So let me just... Oh, you know what? One last thing. I gotta zip around. There we go. I get the grain cart hooked up to the truck. Trailer. Try to get my headset volume adjusted here so I don't blast myself. We'll get this Mack truck down. We'll get it hooked up to the grain. Look at that. I love how the visor doesn't let you look out the window. We are going to use a brand new combine harvester today, the XBR2. It's basically the twin screw, as they call it, or the bi-rotor, as it's actually known. Just can't have the real name. It's not a licensed brand. There were only... Oh, okay, my HDR is gonna freak out. Hopefully you didn't get a cutout on your side. But we are going to be using it. There's only 2 prototypes of this combine that were actually built. This is a mod by Sid Modding, or Seed Modding. I don't know how it's actually supposed to be pronounced. We will have some work to do in the cattle barns tomorrow morning as well, so that's why I'm kind of rushing around to get these few things done. Primarily because we should start seeing some fresh calves in the barns tomorrow. Epic! I sold the Ideal harvester. That's what we're going to use, was the Ideal 7T. And I sold that because we were able to get our hands on the twin screw. It was something different, and I wanted to use something different on this stream rather than the normal John Deere stuff. I realize I have a John Deere header, but I like the looks of the header on there. Okay, so we're gonna leave the tractor trailer just parked down here. This is where we'll wheel our grain cart over. But yeah, let's go rest, and then we can break out the combine and get ourselves moving. This ought to fix everything. Might as well get... Yeah, let's do that. Any suggestions for a hat? None? Okay. I mean, if anybody has suggestions, let me hear them. How about work gloves? Anybody have suggestions for work gloves? No? Alright, fine. Alright, let's go ahead and let's get ourselves some rest. So we're gonna do 5 a.m. because I don't know how much work in the barn we're gonna have to get done. But it's officially about to be July. Okay. Alright, let's see what's going on in the animal barns today. Okay, so as you can see, we've got fresh Holsteins there. We've got 80 of them. And we have the 80 that will restart their reproduction. So we're going to sell off half of those Holsteins today, and we're going to put the other half into these small homemade barns. So we're actually going to handle that first. Just because that's why we get up at 5 a.m. You can see our wheat fields are ready to go. And the corn has actually grown another height, but let's get to work on the easy stuff first, the stuff in the barn. So we're going to pull the 8S out for this, because I'm going to use the animal transport trailer to just simply shift animals around. I sold off the small herd of brown Swiss that we had. I don't know, it just didn't feel like running two dairy herds was really productive. I apologize in advance if I run into something or I stop for a second. The HDR on this TV is actually going a little bonkers. Okay. So we're going to run 9 over at a time. Yeah, I'm running a little low on fuel. It's a good thing the 8S is not really for anything today. No grass work, I promise. We're past that stage right now. But we are going to move. Okay. First. Oh, this will be fairly easy because I'm just going to run it around. Oh my god, with the TV tonight. Sorry, people. But yeah, we're gonna run our new Holsteins into their barn. This is where we're gonna keep heifers. This homemade barn, and we'll actually keep them in the barn next door as well. Right. I know, fully grown calves that were just literally born is baloney, but what are you gonna do? The one advantage we'll have with that barn is that barn's already have food and straw in it. If we take a look here, we'll bring up the self-made. So that self-made cow shed, as you can see, that has a total mixed ration in it. It's got hay. It's got straw, which is really good. We're gonna get this work done first. I need to settle the livestock, and then we're actually gonna move into the wheat fields. I'll get the wheat a little bit of time to dry out this morning, anyway. But that XBR2, that's gonna be a fun little tidbit to use. Okay. So that's 18 so far. We're actually going to sell off a number of animals to the livestock market. We'll sell about half of them, so you got 80 more, keep 40. And once these guys have gone past puberty, they'll be shifted into a barn. And like I said, I have that other cow barn over there. There hasn't been a cow barn that I really like yet, as far as large numbers go. What's going to happen here is we're going to get enough in there so that there's only space for 5. pile of TMR here. There's plenty of hay. We want to see how much food each animal lot is going to go through. So this ought to be interesting. And of course, I got the modular trailer because, quite honestly, there's nothing better to use than the modular trailer. Hey! Hey, Mama Duck. I am up late, but I'm up late because I managed to get out of work. My supervisor actually let me out of work early. I did a 55-hour work week last week. So, yeah, I do got moo-moo cows. These, actually, the ones I'm shifting over to this barn are technically calves in the game, even though they're fully grown. You like that? You actually showed up in time to watch me mess around with cows. That's funny as hell. Alright, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I am late. I am up significantly later than I expected, but everybody's actually in bed early tonight in comparison to me. And I don't have to work tomorrow or the next day, so I figured I might as well stay up and you know, play some farm sim. I actually was not really expecting to do this. This was like a last minute choice, so. Besides that, the family's doing pretty well. Kiddo's growing like a weed. I'll have to send a picture over at some point. I'm really bad at keeping up. I just talked with talked with one of my sisters for the first time in like forever today. So I can't even keep up with my own family, for cripe's sake. New vampire game. What's the new vampire game? Ah, granddaughter for the night. Well, that also explains why you're up super late. Or later for you, anyway. V Rising. Is that something that you're gonna stream once you get back into it, or she's actually sleeping? Well, lucky her. I'm glad she can sleep. Okay, we need 4 more of those calves to go into this dry barn. You might. I would be interested in watching that, even if I have to watch a replay. I don't know. There haven't been too many interesting games out this year. I don't think there's anything left for this year that I actually want to get for the Xbox. I know that the 4th of July is coming up, so I'll be playing a lot of World of Warships in my spare time. I'll be playing a bunch of farms. Okay, 4. So I always play that game around the 4th of July because it's all, of course, American themed at that point. So how'd all your stuff, your in-home visit go a couple of weeks ago? I didn't have a chance to ask you how that went. I meant to catch you on Discord. Of course, I'm a slacker. Let's move those last 4 over. Spaces, 5 spaces left. I can't even count tonight. All right. I'm just gonna leave this sucker parked right here. Ooh. Well, I hope it's good. I know home visitations were always a big headache for my parents, so I can honestly feel your pain because I don't think it matters what state you're in. Visitations are always a pain in the butt. All right. Well, looks like we have enough straw and food in here. We got 11,000 liters of homogenizer here. So we're good there. Alright. are gonna go ahead and sell off the remainder of these cows. So there's a small fee for transportation, but I mean that's $2,420 that we get just for having the animals in the first place. All right. Self-made. Huh. Oh, okay. I got the wrong 4 over there. That's cute. Please tell me. Yep, okay. So I accidentally sold. Well, that's okay. We won't talk about that. So there's 76 Holsteins in there that's left. I accidentally took 4 of my standard Holsteins out. Okay, whatever. I gotta go get those 4 out of there. This is what happens when I play a game absolutely schnockered, but that's okay. Alright. And the only reason I want to separate these 4 cows and put them back in is because I don't want to have to go retrieve milk out of the, what they call the self-made cow shed. Oh, that Massey is sounding gnarly. Nah, the damage isn't too bad on this yet. Schnockered, yeah, absolutely tired out of my mind. I know, it's a great phrase. Oh, I've missed doing this for like people actually watching. I haven't had much luck with that lately. Okay. Okay. There we go. Everything in there. Everything else in there is at 0 months. Ah! 3 sheets to the wind. More popular phrase, of course, is shite-faced around here. Schnockered can mean tired or, you know, drunk. It's used for both around here, honestly. That's okay. No, I haven't been getting too many views on those either. It's slightly discouraging, but it's just I don't have enough time, so there isn't like a consistency there that should be. So that's more along the lines of my fault than anything else. I'm just not as consistent as I used to be, but then again, I don't exactly have the time to be consistent. Okay, there's a pile of... Alright, so... Let's see... There's enough straw. The slurry's not built up in the reserve too much. And there is definitely plenty of food. I can actually see... Total mixed ration is at 14 on the self-made, but that shouldn't actually go down. Yeah, unfortunately I can't seem to catch like a Monday night. A Monday night would be great, honestly. But I can't catch that because I've got to be up at like 4:30 in the morning. You know, Tuesday morning. I get Wednesday off in the middle of the week normally, although last week that didn't happen. And then I get Saturday, Sunday off. So most of the time I'm like in bed by now. I'm just like so tired. So it's been kind of give or take. And the streaming success, I don't know if it's just the warm weather. I'm going to assume it's just kind of the warm weather that's doing it. Because, like, even when I stream on a Saturday right now, it's just, like, absolute garbage. And I wasn't even sure I was going to do this stream tonight. I was thinking about taking the, you know, taking a full week and a half to 2 weeks in between streams. But I figured I might as well do one tonight and see if anybody jumps on. But I have noticed that numbers are, like, down across the board. Anybody that I watch. There's a guy I'm watching on YouTube that does farm sim, and he's just building a channel with like 2,000 subscribers is what he's trying to get to, and oh my god, he's got like 40 people in there at a time. It's like, I really wish I could get 40 people. Alright, so let's go get our combine. Oh my god, the TV's tweaking out again. There we go. I get this little interruption with the HDR signal that shuts off the whole screen for a second. Alright, so this is the twin screw combine. I basically put everything into a compact variant. This is actually a real thing. There are 2 prototypes of this made. It was made by a company called Byrotor. And it's got a very compact frame. This one I've got fully kitted out because I could with the harvester that I sold. So it didn't take much to actually buy all the stuff. But this is an odd looking duck. I will give you that, but it's not John Deere, it's not any mainstream company, and I just wanted something a little different. Okay. This may not even come off of the trailer too well. Oh, look at that, it only caught a little. Alright, let's get this out of the way. And I have the largest header I can get for that model. I went with an early model John Deere header, because that's typically what you do on that particular harvester. Okay, so the yield data potentials are giving us somewhere around 93 of 100%. Wow, that's good to go. Let's just check the forecast. Okay, well, the good news is clear through to tomorrow, July the 2nd, at least early morning. It looks pretty clear. So let's go ahead, let's do some wheat harvesting, all right? Summer wheat. We're only a few weeks away from that for some people. In real life, oh, I just shut the engine off. Getting so excited I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Fold the header. I don't know why unfolding the combine is literally just swinging the ladder out. Get ourselves into position. So what did you stream Monday night that wasn't so successful? Just out of curiosity. My problem is I think I put 2 hay harvests in, or 2 different grass work sessions in the same stream. I didn't do anything like this. I would like the actual John Deere combine harvesters that attach to these heads to actually come out. That'd be nice. Okay. We're gonna attempt to actually do this to a semi-Phasmo like every Monday. Okay. Well, that kind of stinks that it's like not. Is it just it's because it's between updates or something like that? Oh, okay. Yeah. I've gone back to like the simplest form of streaming for the time being. I don't have spare money to throw at the whole light stream thing, and there's some sort of way I can do this through Streamlabs now, only it's telling me to set up an account, which is weird because I have everything already linked to this. So I think Sunday on Father's Day, my wife's supposed to give me like half the day to myself. I think on Sunday I'm going to sit down and upload the videos that I have streamed here to the VODs to YouTube and take some time to look up what I need to do to actually stream out of this console. Wheat fields. I'm hoping I'll be able to handle all of those on stream tonight. And the yield's right around where it was supposed to be. You can see some of those yield markers coming up from last year's harvest. We are technically in our second summer here on the farm. It'll officially be the second summer as soon as we hit the month of August. That's when it comes into play. The problem is, right now, I'm in between a rock and a hard place, because environmentally, in order to get the extra environmental viability or conservation score that you can get with precision farming now, you can't do any tillage. You can actually get reduced for all environmental score. The problem is I have a bunch of fields that actually do require plowing at this point, which means I have to either take a hit in the environmental score, or I have to go ahead and take a hit in the yield of the crop itself. Did you at least have the normal crew together for Phasmo? So, I mean, I think that's half the draw for me to watch those videos when I get the opportunity. Your normal crew is typically funny as hell. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's kind of what I miss about the drama that kind of came up last year. I can say last year because, God, it was last year now. With that certain individual, it was loads more fun to you know, right after a fairly big update too. You'd figure people would just be watching because of the update. I know in some games, like once an update drops, a lot of people are there. It's like I'm getting ready for the end of this month. They're dropping. Nah, he hasn't said 2 words to me, but I don't think he streams anymore either. Which is really too bad. I thought his stuff for sure was very entertaining. But he never gave a chance to like look at that from any other angle. So it's just like I keep checking on his channel because I liked his stuff, so I was kind of hoping to see some streams, but honestly, I don't know what his deal was. I think he was just having a bad day. You know, once people take stuff out of context and don't really pay attention, it's kind of hard to. But they've got a DLC coming out for the Kubota brand of tractors. They finally landed the license for that. So they have that coming out at the end of the month, so I'm wicked excited to mess around because those are all like mid-range horsepower or light horsepower tractors. Kubota is actually a very popular brand here. I don't know if you see it a lot in your area. But it is actually quite a popular brand here in my neck of the woods. Yeah, I was, you know, I'll be honest and say, now with the driving, I get into even more rural areas than I ever did, and I've seen some farms around that I've never seen before, and it's phenomenal the amount of like John Deere tractors and New Holland. New Holland and John Deere are the two most popular ones around here, and I think that's just because that's what the dealers use. But, you know, the Deere tractors that I typically see are like the ones built in the 70s that most dairy farmers are just, you know, they're not going to get rid of them. The one thing I did see, though, I saw a giant, I saw a 9R. I was a little surprised because that's a very large piece of equipment to see in this area. Even, you know, even with the potato fields up north in the county that we have, seeing something that large is very unusual. That's like a 700 horse tractor. It's freaking huge. And there is a company that makes feed down here that I've never really driven by much. And they had one of those out one day while I was on a delivery, and it blew my mind because those tractors are just so freaking massive. And it's not like the Midwest where you wake up and you see like a massive combine or tractor like every day. You know, that's not typical around here. You know, your typical tractors are going to max out at like 250 horses in a lot of cases. They don't have too many large ones. And that's mostly because what you see is generally just kind of dairy farms. And you don't need much more than that to do hay and silage, so. But I'm trying to do, like, I don't know if you've noticed, simply because I have a piece of equipment out with a, you know, John Deere logo on the header and everything, but this is actually like the one map I'm trying to do a lot less John Deere. Like I'm doing Challenger and Massey Ferguson and those, so it's something a little out of my realm of comfort. And I'm not really sure I'm even going to have like just like a deer themed farm yet. I haven't made up my mind. I know it's a popular brand, but there's just like, there's so much more now in these games than there used to be. Even with mods. There I go. I'm on a tangent about the game. Like I don't get into it very often. My poor wife does like the whole face palm thing. It's like I'm not interested. I don't find this fascinating. I had a delivery. I had a it's good for some people. It's not necessarily great for others. But I had a delivery actually to a dairy farm the other day, and I pulled up and it was quiet. It was as quiet as a ghost town. The only reason I knew where to deliver this part is because the farmer that ordered the part from us was actually, he was under a baler. Like legit underneath the baler, changing out the tines to this baler. And he got up, and I think, well, if I had spent too much more time talking to him, I spent like 15 minutes talking to this guy while I was delivering this part. If I had spent any more time, I would have gotten in trouble for taking too long at a delivery. Because they track all of that stuff through this little device that looks almost like a cell phone. But he got going on how they manufacture tines now, and it's just, I felt at home because it was somebody who was actually speaking like the jargon and the issues. And here I am just like, you know, for a guy living a normal day, I'm completely starstruck by a plain individual. Which, it makes me feel like a complete and utter weirdo. That's okay. I couldn't, you know, I can't pass up the opportunity. It's like talking farm sim. A lot of people don't talk farm sim. But the amount of people that would say like, oh, I've always wanted to try that game, I just haven't, you know, is phenomenal. Yeah, yeah. I wish I could find something or some way. There we go. My controller decided to go all wonky. Anyway, I wish I could find some way to contribute to this community and like take that contribution to the community and like reinforce the way that farmers are struggling. It's like dairy farms in the state of Maine, where I live. There are only 138 dairy farms left for the entire state, and that's down tremendous. I don't know what it was at its peak, but that's very little. Yeah, only 138 left, and it's because smaller farms are pushed out by the larger dairy corporations that don't want to pay as much. It's like I was talking to that farmer, and his off-road diesel, which is the tax-exempt diesel that they're allowed to buy, that's doubled since last year alone. And I mean, we're all dealing with the gas price increases and all that, but it's like understanding like when certain crops are harvested in the United States is like I'm harvesting wheat on the first week of July in game. That is actually pretty accurate to the time in which farmers in the United States typically start taking the first kernels of wheat off of their fields. But it's like people don't understand that when that finally happens and they start processing those kernels of wheat, our prices for wheat are going to jump because all of a sudden the fuel usage and the grain mills that are buying up the grain, everything is gonna jump like nobody knows. So if you didn't know that, buy some flour before the middle to end of July, because it's going to be available. Only it's going to be product from the United States instead of Europe, and it's going to cost twice as much to get it as it does right now. So it's like all these impacts that we don't realize really kind of impact us, and it's just kind of a shame. It's like there's only 138 dairy farms in the state now. Imagine how expensive like milk is going to be when it's down to like 20 friggin' dairy farms. You know, and the state of Vermont, you know, they have a lot of dairy operations that are, vastly larger than anything in Maine. But still, at the end of the day, you still got to transport it. You still got to burn diesel. All of that stuff is getting expensive. Whoa. The whole harvester just, like, chugged. Okay, I can leave the challenge. Love that digital scale. Bringing back an old favorite from Farming Simulator 19. Yeah, it's insane. I don't honestly know what I'm gonna do here. My wife, as she puts it, has got to find work by the end of this month, beginning of next. And it's not like job availability isn't there. I don't know like how big your population is, but it's not like job availability isn't there. But, you know, at the same time, it's like the number one line I'm hearing from employers are, well, everybody's too lazy and they don't want to work. And the reality is like everybody got a taste of what it was like during the pandemic to actually live a little instead of like working 100% of the time. So you top that with the fact that employers haven't changed their rate of pay. They haven't tried to increase, things like benefits. It's like no wonder why people don't want to work for you. You don't want to treat them like human beings. You still want to treat them like a number on a spreadsheet. So, yeah, everything's really hard right now. And it's, I don't think it's going to get any easier anytime soon. And I'm sorry to hear about the online work. I hope you're finding stuff that isn't too terribly stressful. But it's definitely it's put a lot of stress on everybody. It's not easy. And, you know, I may have to find. I'm already working 40 hours a week, and if Emily can't find something, or if her long-term COVID symptoms continue to, you know, bother her or cause issues, I may have to find a second job for those 3 days off that I have. You got to get a part-time job just to pay for the gas to go to your full-time job. And that's nuts. That's absolutely crazy. Like, there's no reason for that in this country. Stress is the world. This is what I do to get away from the stress. It's good to talk about it, but it's... yeah, crazy is probably the best word to describe it, I think. You're absolutely right. You know, it's like going out for taking my wife out on a date costs me like $175 now, just because 75 of it, you know, 75 to 90 of it is just in gas, and then you gotta figure in the tip and food and babysitter. Sometimes you gotta pay for that. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't get a whole lot of that right now. I don't know if I just blather on or people just aren't interested. I'm in a very specific, you know, that's another thing that really cramps it, is I'm in a very specific game. And I'm seriously considering just branching out to Forza like once a week. If I get to a twice a week kind of stream, I'm thinking I might go back to my original idea and start doing some Forza. Well, that's good. At least you got out. How'd you like the movie? I didn't go see that. I have trouble getting past the fact that Tom Cruise is absolutely crazy. Apparently the Department of Defense had to tell him while he was in the cockpit while they were filming it that he couldn't touch any of the buttons, period. Apparently he wanted to fly the jet, and they were like, yeah, no. I just, like, he's grossing, like, the best, like, the profits from this newest movie of his are literally grossing the best profits he's ever had for any movie in his career. And I was telling my wife, I feel really bad because Top Gun, the original Top Gun, was one of my favorites when I was a kid, because I was really heavy into flight simulators. But it's like, I can't, now that I'm older, I just can't get past the fact that he's absolutely crazy. Well, I'm glad it was a good movie. That is fantastic. Obviously, I mean, the money's speaking for itself, right? He's grossing a lot of money out of this new film. So, I can't get over the crazy. I don't know what it is. Normally, I don't have a problem, like, putting that off to the side, but maybe it's just because it's, like, one too many times where I've seen something, or maybe it's just his variant of crazy that I just can't get by. I don't know. Well, that's good. Sometimes when you get a sequel that far, you know, from the original, it's hard to really, like, they're grasping at straws to make this story, basically. So it's nice to hear they at least did the story some justice. I did like the fact, like I said, I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably see it when it comes out on, you know, like home video or whatever. But I did like the fact that he did fight like hell to get Val Kilmer in there. You know, just because Val Kilmer was one of the the more interesting rival characters in the original movie. And he's struggling, of course, with cancer that's riddled his throat. So they used an AI for his lines. When he spoke in the movie, he actually couldn't speak for the most part, I guess, and they used like some sort of AI program. Oh, so they used his voice for that. Okay, I heard they had to use like an AI program or something stupid like that, but that would make more sense. Yeah, his son and his daughter are really like out there supportive. It's kind of amazing. I mean, to be fair, he did a horrible Batman. Like, a horrible, horrible Batman. But he did an excellent, it was Iceman, right? Call Sign. And there's a couple other movies I actually like Val Kilmer in, so I can't complain too much. He did. And he had a lot of, the thing about Val Kilmer is there's like a lot of LA stage performance there as well. So he wasn't just acting mainstream Hollywood, but he was also doing like the arts and careers kind of performance in general. I don't, unfortunately, you share a birthday. That's epic. I don't follow him enough to know like every angle, but there are some neat things with Val Kilmer that's really awesome. And now I know another neato fact. You guys share a birthday. This thing is chugging through this wheat field, no problem. I did not use this combine harvester on FS19, and I'm a little disappointed in myself for not. This is actually a pretty nice combine. So, you doing any interesting challenges or anything with your Sims stuff? I know it's probably been a while since you've streamed Sims, but while we're on the subject of gaming and fun things. Those are actually the streams I miss, are the Sunday night ones with The Sims. I'd pop that on and my wife would watch that as well. A werewolf pack? See, that is just the best part about Sims, isn't it? Is like the expansions and the mods have just been out of this world in this generation and that stuff. That's cool as hell. Yeah, I found out that my mother-in-law actually knew who you were just because of the baby challenge that you were trying to do. I guess she watched a few episodes of that. I didn't realize my mother-in-law even watched Twitch. I knew she created a account to follow me on, but I had no idea that she was actually sitting down and watching, like, you know, creators. Yeah, that is cool. Apparently my wife was talking about you with her at one day, and she's like, oh, I know who that is. It's like, wait, what? So little celebrity going on there. Miss Mama Duck. I think I'm producing more than enough straw for the cattle that I have out the back of this thing. Probably, if I could ever convince her to, you know, watch streams or maybe play. She got into a Sims thing for a couple of weeks here recently where she just played Sims straight on her computer. It's like, you should really reach out to some people to play. It's like, meh, whatever. I get the same response every time. Meh, whatever. It's like, I'm streaming tonight because she went to bed early. Won't be going haywire. Let's see. Oh yeah, I guess the texture's still there. It looks off when I did the concrete. Wow, that just saps the pH and the nitrogen right out of the soil. Holy shit. I think you guys would get along just fine. That's the thing, though. It's like I was walking through the store today. I got out early, so I went home, got the wife, got the kid, went to the store because as far as COVID numbers go in the state of Maine, COVID numbers are really, really low. We had one little uptick here a few months ago. You know, when that variant was going around, whichever one it is now. I've lost track of them. But, you know, we're walking around today and it's like people forgot. People used to be kind of rude before. But I feel like people have completely just like, between all the crap going on and just the fact that some people just can't get over themselves. It just seems like people are more rude. I don't know. Lately, it's just... Wow, what is... Holy crap. Oh, there we go. I had to miss. Wow. Okay. I've got like 1,000-pound weight on this thing. Wow. I think we're gonna... Wow. Okay. I think we need a bigger box. Yeah, it just seems like people are a bit rude. Okay. Maybe this Challenger ain't gonna cut the mustard. Oh well. I guess I'm gonna grain cart with the Versatile for now. Okay, maybe I'll sell that Challenger and just upgrade Versatile without the Delta tracks. So that I can grain cart the heavy lifting. That was not what I was expecting, but then again, I hadn't hooked anything up to it yet. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the Versatile's handling it a little better. Turn on the caution lights. I'm gonna go make NPC traffic very, very unhappy with us. Just died in your game again. So, I assume it's the vampire game that you were talking about, that you're playing right now. Is it like action adventure or is it like super RPG? Like, what's the best way to describe it? And I know describing it in a game chat is probably like the most annoying request you've received today. Look at this. We're going to hold up traffic, everybody. Wow, that's pushing it off the tracks a bit on the front. Oh, okay. It's kind of following the recent trope of games that have like bosses on a map, but there's also like almost like mini bosses that you can play as, and then a bunch of people are trying to kill you in the process, or they themselves are like mini bosses. All right. I don't know what I'm gonna do. That Demco normally doesn't require this heavy of a tractor. But they have changed the weight physics considerably on this game, so maybe that's gonna be the way I can cart this with that articulating tractor. It's almost like, that's almost an exact word-for-word description of The Hunt or The Hunted, something like that. It's almost like it's a big wide open map where you're basically hunting monsters, and you have to beat everybody to killing these boss monsters while avoiding them at the same time. That's exactly what that sounds like. So I have a feeling you have that, only your variant is like you're a vampire hunting other monsters, which is actually kind of a cooler thing than like a Wild West Cowboys sort of theme like the other one is. Because that's what it is. It's like a Civil War Wild West themed thing. It's kind of odd. I love holding up traffic, but hey, welcome to grain harvest. Ah, that's cool. I don't know if they have that feature like yours does, but that may be a cooler way of doing it. Like overall, it just sounds like they went, how can we make a game like that, only better? Oh, look, listen, everybody's beeping at me. It's so much fun being a farmer and getting beeped at constantly. Alright, so even on the Delta track, that's going to push down. And that big old chunk down underneath the hood there at the bottom is a freaking weight set, and it's still brought it up off the tracks a little. I think the different bosses in that other game give you like a skill that's limited, but they definitely don't give you like craftable items and things. That actually sounds really cool. Okay, we're just gonna park this off the road right here. Wasn't expecting to use my tillage tractor, but that means that I'm probably gonna have to go to one other articulated tractor to make this work. Which is okay, because next year we're just gonna be doing soybeans. That actually sounds kind of cool. Emily recently applied to a job for a credit officer, so like a loan officer, if you will, and she's one of many applicants. And I'm thinking, if she manages to get the job, I'm thinking I may save up for a better computer, because with the hours that I pull, it wouldn't be hard for me to pay bills if there was a second income in the house, and save a little bit of money off to the side. Possible computer. It's like I'm playing Farm Sim on the Xbox, which is really good. It's really solid. It's been really nice. But I feel like I'm really kind of limited in like maps I can play and things of that nature. Yeah. I think everybody would love to get a better computer. Half the problem is just getting the hardware for it these days is like ridiculous. Some things you're like waiting months for them to restock, so I think that'll be like the one struggle, because even if I like got together enough money to say buy it at the end of this year, it would still be like clear into halfway into next year before they'd actually have all the parts available. But I feel like I'm missing a lot of, like, there are mods that obviously aren't offered directly through Giants on their mod hub, because it all has to go through testing, and some people don't want to deal with the headache of making sure that the game can be formatted to both console and computer. So I feel like I get gypped all the time. There are some nice new maps out there that are computer only, and I would love to try it out. Plus, there's some things that you can do on PC versions with mods included that you can't on the console version. I don't honestly think it'll happen given the way the prices are going with everything, but it's like my dream thing to spend money on right now. Definitely be a computer. Like fully decked out, 4K screens, all of that. And then, of course, I would be the idiot who's underusing all the performance and only playing Farm Sim. So it's like I'm trying. The reason that I don't stream too often is when I stream, I want to stream like the right things to do in Farming Sim. It's like doing this wheat harvest is pretty nice. But also I want the chance to play a few of my other games. I have like 220 Xbox games currently in my library, and I don't even play half of those. And I've got a ton that I've never finished or never even started. Most of which I got, from previous work experience before I had the kiddo and everything. And as you can see, I have a junk controller set up that just keeps disconnecting. So if there's a momentary pause in the chatter, it's because, I have no controller hooked up at the moment, which is what my headset's hooked into. A better computer would be nice. Without a doubt. But like I said, I'd feel like an idiot because I'd just end up playing like this all the time. And there are more games than just Farm Sim out there, so I'd have to find a way to stop doing that to myself. Yeah, once you start getting stick drift on those controllers, forget it. Mine just has a really awkward charge port. It's like it's got like a USB, whatever it is. It's not a micro USB, but let's say like USB-S or something stupid like that. BS. Ha. Anyway, it's absolute junk. Like the soldering around them wear out after a while. And I have some really nice ones, but I'm always nervous to like break out really nice ones, because once you start breaking one in, it's hard to say if you're gonna have like a really good time or a really lousy time with it. So, yeah, I can stick drift. Forget it. Once that starts happening, I don't even like. I can take mine apart to clean them. Once they start drifting, forget it. I just, they're kind of like the junk controller that you leave for absolute desperate times. And I have a wired controller that I haven't even broke out yet. It's one of those special edition Hyperkin ones. And I bought it like back before November. I like pre-ordered the thing because it was limited. And I haven't even broke it out to use it yet. It's mostly because I want to clean and reorganize everything in my den, which I haven't really had a chance to do. I'm going to have a chance to actually do it tomorrow, though. So by the end of the day tomorrow, I should have a bunch of new controllers and their charging stands all put away properly and easy to access. It'll be a lot better setup. But I've got to shift around a bunch of furniture sometimes. It's kind of like figuring it out for the last time because it's the last way. I've had this den set up 3 or 4 different ways, and each time it's just kind of ticked me off, and I haven't had enough time to like work at it in a while. So, but yeah, of course, leave it to me to have perfectly capable $80 controllers just sitting around in their boxes, not being used because I'm nervous to like break them in and have them wear out on me. But I mean, that's always been the trope, right? I can, as long as I can remember, controllers have always been like the worst thing. Like I had, instead of having like the Nintendo, I had the Sega Genesis growing up. Like that was the platform that I played video games on. And even back when they first came out, the controllers were really comfortable. And I swear they were built for like fat American kids because they were perfect. They were large, but they always broke. Like it never mattered. The construction was always horrible in those things. You could be gentle with them and they'd still just freaking break. No rhyme or reason. Just broke, and nowadays you can't find working controllers for a lot of these classic platforms. It's like everybody has a console that still works and everybody has the old cartridges that still work, but the controllers, forget it. You either had that that kid that would wrap the cord around the controllers and just destroy the copper wiring in those things, or they'd have soldering come loose from the boards inside the controller. It's real difficult to get those things like dealt with. When you find a working N64 controller, I know a lot of people that look for the originals on those, and it is such a pain to find. Of course, Xbox, you have Hyperkin makes a couple of. Anyway, Hyperkin has a couple of nice recreations because they've got direct permission from, like, for example, Microsoft to remake the original Xbox controller. So you can still get a copy of the Duke controller, which is really nice. You'd have to, like, splice the ends for the connection. You wouldn't be able to get away with... you wouldn't be able to get away with using them on the classic system. I say that I'm looking at the classic system through a plastic tote. I'm going to try to get all of those set up tomorrow as well. But it's really hard. I've got a couple of really nice not N64, but GameCube controllers for my GameCube. I've managed to actually keep my original, which doesn't have any stick drift or anything. So I've gotten lucky there. But turning on a dime is a cakewalk. I feel super spoiled with this. I wish it had a little more horsepower to handle an even bigger header, but well, we're doing what we can. And the reservoir tank on this thing is fantastic. 29,000 liters crop. Field seems to be yielding pretty well in this corner. But that is the real difficult thing about this game at the moment. I'm looking at these yields, and it's kind of a complete change of subject, but it's kind of odd to be playing this game right now because it's in kind of a state where it needs precision farming to be almost where it was, but it also has all these things that you need to do in order to get bonuses with your crops that are still base game sitting in the background. It's kind of odd. I haven't read through it all yet because I just don't feel like it's useful to the situation. Oh, yeah, of course this shut off. Oh, look at that. That is the smaller variant. I'm gonna need a rock picker if I end up going through. I wanted to take a minute. So 282,000. Yeah. I really want to do that because this is my tillage tractor. This is not meant to be a grain cart tractor. I'll probably do that off screen though. Off of stream. This is the only problem with the Delta track is it sits in such a narrow way on the tracks that when you twist the frame, you push the frame to its limit, it comes off of the inside track when you take a sharp corner with it. I'm not like when you're plowing or when you're doing planting, it's okay because you don't need to be like jackknifing the frame. You're trying to get the cart turned around and moving in the right direction. So I will probably go for a second versatile farm here just to handle the grain cart. I will probably go with a wheeled variant. That way I can get something that sits wider on the frames. This is actually the Delta Track conversion. Now I'm getting back into the technical side of farming sim. Delta Track conversion is not unusual with things like versatile Kloss. Kloss makes a really awesome one. You can kind of see they sit so narrow in the frame, and these are wider banded Caterpillar tracks. And they still sit a little narrow to the frame, like they're actually secured in. If you have something like a 9RX, which John Deere makes, they have the option to bring the axle out wide. So it's actually out wider. Number one, it makes it easier for things like row crops. But number two, it also makes it easier for when you're turning sharp, you don't bring up a track off the ground. I wish this auger was just a tad bit quicker at unloading. I see a lot more parts moving around though. That's another thing that I love about this game, is it is a step up from Farming Sim 19. It steps up. It's there as far as details go. If you look at some of the combines with belts and things on the side, You can see the belts moving on the interior. Obviously, the combine here, this combine is a prototype that was set up differently in more ways than just like how compact this thing is and what it runs on. God, I picked the largest field to start. I should have picked some of the smaller fields so actually we're getting more done on this. But hey, if I've got time on Sunday, maybe I'll do a Father's Day stream for a bit. Like I said, I'm supposed to get a little time to myself, kind of as a treat. I don't really take a whole lot of time for myself anymore, but that's part of being a parent and an adult. Responsibilities come first, right? I do like the cockpit view. You can get a lot of this stuff added. The tablet, screen, the satellite readout, and then the CB radio. Those are all options in this, so if you are looking at something a little more bare bones, let's say you're running like a classic tractor, the setup, or an older, earlier model setup, for example, which I think I'm going to do on Stone Valley. Yeah, taking time for yourself that's for kids. Holy crap, that is for kids. I love taking the time. You know, it's late at night and I'm doing this. And it's even later if you're in my time zone, for example. But you know, it's like I don't have a whole lot of energy to do this, and I'm looking at this field going, I'm not gonna last. You know, I'm not gonna be able to do a whole stream doing this. Because as soon as I get up to the edge of that forest there, where I start dealing with bends, then I'm going to have to reverse the line direction that I'm going. And then you got to figure I've got two more fields, one of like medium size in comparison to this field, and then one of small size. That's the small one over next to the yard itself. But there's no way I'm going to like bale and collect straw and do that all on a stream unless I'm going to sit here. Not going to sit here for 6 hours doing this, so that's kind of on me. So maybe we'll have another stream. I definitely want to have a stream when I get ready to do the silage, because every other field that I own, minus the ones that the poplars are going to eventually go into, but every other field that I own is feed corn for the cattle. So it's all going to be turned into silage. So there is going to be a massive silage harvest. It may even rival the silage harvest we had in American Life Farming. That was a decent size, but I definitely didn't have that many fields covered in corn, and this is like double that. So I'm hoping, with any luck, cross my fingers, I'm hoping with any luck that I did proper fertilization prep and everything else, that we're going to manage to pull at least a 4 million liter silage harvest, which, as you know, takes some time, and I'm going to actually have to take a day to myself. I'm going to have to find a day to myself where everyone's out and where I'm not going to get any interruptions to do that. But luckily for me, this is the heavy dutiest of all works for the summer months on the sim game here. If you have cereal crops that were winter crops, you're harvesting those in July. As for the corn, I don't imagine I'll be doing those till October probably. I might get September where I'll be able to do that. And corn, of course, the best part about corn is if you're not harvesting it for the kernels themselves, just straight up corn, if you're harvesting them as feed and you're grinding it, you can do it on the last growth stage, so it doesn't have to be 100% ripe and ready for harvesting. if you're doing it that way, if you're grinding it up for silage. And it's actually not going to have effect. It's been tested by so many people now. I can't take credit for it, but it's been tested to see if it will reduce the amount of silage you actually get from the field. It does not. So we'll be doing a massive silage harvest at some point. And we've, of course, got the Fendt Katana for that. We're not using John Deere 9000. We're actually using the Fendt Katana because that fits with the AGCO style that we have set up here. Still haven't figured out what I'm going to do with that Challenger yet. I'm sitting here, and it's the thing about streams, right, is the mistakes or the experiments are always fresh and they're always there. So to know, for instance, the AGCO 1000 can't haul that cart, even though in the previous game it could have easily hauled that cart. Maybe I need to just get a bigger weight for it. I'll see. But of course, that also goes to show you the weight physics have really changed. Before, any of your crop types actually wouldn't have carried any weight with them, so it wouldn't have put strain, it wouldn't have required more torque on the engine itself or anything like that. So I guess to see the weight actually affecting like the big equipment that you could depend on before, it's really kind of odd to see that kind of bite you. But you also get to see it in stream, and you get to see how the experiment's going. On the one hand, I am really enjoying this particular harvester. On the other hand, I'm really not enjoying the fact that that Challenger didn't work as a grain cart, kind of ferry back and forth. It means I'm going to have to seriously consider like counterweights on the fronts of tractors and stuff when I get into Arab moves. So I mean, you told me you're working online, or you're finding jobs online. Not going to pry too hard on that one, but doing that, does that mean you work weekends now as well as weekdays, or have you found at least a decent balance with making a little extra money to offset this inflation? Because I mean, we're talking about making time for ourselves. Like, if you didn't before, and you have multiple jobs to try to help out now, I imagine that's got to put the crunch on everything. I don't imagine you don't have even time during the weekends now. Of course, I'm asking this question. Only an hour a day, still. Still, that's not like the worst thing in the world, right? Only 1 hour a day. Whatever helps, honestly. I don't think I've just had like a legitimate year in which I'm harvesting the crop that I planted right before the winter snow. Oh my god, this map's winter is intense. You actually this is supposed to be Frankenmuth, Michigan, which is a legitimate place in Michigan that deals with a lot of farming. Upwork, huh? Okay. That's not terrible. Now, is that something you intend on doing, like that hour during the weekends too, to get you through on like the days you're not at work, or is that something that you're scaling with your work currently, just so you have a little time for yourself? As much as anyone else with kids in the house could do. I'm like, I'm seriously just being a dummy at this point. I'm asking a bunch of random questions. She's trying to play her game. And I'm like, hey, let me just pile the question. I won't even give you a chance to answer the first one. Ah, fair enough. And of course, there's that little delay in there, too. Jumping out to get to the grain cart is not gonna do me any good. You know, here's to hoping all your contracts come with simple, easy stipulations and don't overwork you too much. Don't roll into the cord. Destroy my crop today. I haven't even been over to the greenhouses to check on the strawberries. Grain mill was empty, so it shouldn't be pumping out any more flour. I actually sold off a large amount of what I was storing at the pallet warehouse to pay off the couple loans that I had taken out for equipment to change some things around. I may go ahead and go the next lineup on a versatile with the tires. That's not the, get the tires, not the Delta track. That's what I meant to say. So that I can easily move around grain carts. I may get a loan just to pay off that and then sell the milk and sell the strawberries. Milk and strawberries will typically get you out of anything. I haven't checked, because you can produce strawberry ice cream. I haven't bothered to check to see if that actually nets a bigger profit, those things together. But productions, that's my one complaint about the game itself. It's like if I'm producing a little bit out of a shed, then yeah, it's going to take a long time to produce any of this stuff. But if I'm producing this at a rate that allows me to, it's like a small factory, I should be able to produce enough of it to kind of blow through my supplies as quickly as I can. So that's like my huge complaint about it, is productions are just too slow. And when they first had the game out, productions were based off of 1 day months, but if you did like multiple days, you'd pretty much get the same amount of production for 1 day that you would out of, say, like a week and a half in the month. So it was definitely a lot more production material even. Yeah, this Delta track's supposed to be nice for the ground tillage and all that. I don't think it's taken the weight. So we're going to take a minute in the stream, and I guess we're going to add a tractor to the fleet and eliminate a tractor from the fleet. We We really don't need the Challenger if we've got a big boy like this anyway. There is no reason to keep the Challenger at this point, besides the fact that I wanted a Challenger. But it is what it is. See, it takes a minute to empty out the card in the first place. And I like this 550 Delta track. This is a solid model. I actually planted the corn crops with this. And it is a really good tractor. But I don't like it for the grain cart. So we're gonna park the grain cart up here. I'm actually just gonna park this down by the workshop. You can see we've got a bunch of different panels for it. I think we'll get some of the panels, but I think we'll leave most of that out. I don't think we need more than even a single tire configuration. So we'll keep the 550 for tillage and probably running a planter. And we're gonna go ahead and we'll just sell the Fent 1050. It shows as a Fent. It's basically it's what we call in the United States a rebadge. So it's something where it is technically a Fent, but will... Actually, I have an even better idea. So let's see. There is an older model Versatile in here. So 261 is what it costs for the standard tires. 313, and it's the same with the Delta tracks as they go up. You can see the year next to them. This is something that I haven't even thought of. And this was one of my favorites when it came to you wide tire it out. Let's see. Michelin's. Oh, I like that Michelin right there. Put in a radio. We're going to put in the heaviest weights. I want a 3-point on the back because the 3-point's going to give me all the options. I could do PTO with mid-weights. But I don't think I'm going to need that, so let's just keep it at a 3-point. Tuning it up is going to cost me an extra $30,000, but it's nothing compared to what it would normally cost me. So yeah, we're gonna go with an older Versatile. This actually has 500 horses to it. I think the other Versatile has. Yeah, and we ended up actually making a small profit out of that, which is good. All right. And what I love about this is an older Versatile, so it still has a Bueller logo. Bueller is actually a manufacturer of agricultural tractors out of Manitoba, Canada. And in fact, they're the only tractor manufacturer in the entire country, from what I understand, for agriculture specific. So 500 horses will run the grain cart. It's a little bit slower than the Delta track, but not much. And this is also something we could run our manure spreader and our slurry spreader off of. And I know it shows just a plate with a 3-point hitch there, but there is actually a power takeoff unit as well. And I like this older Versatile. You may have noticed that New Holland has one of these. Rostelmash has one of these as well. That's because at one point or another the companies actually existed as one entity. So yes, in some ways Versatile had Russian ownership. I do not believe that Rostelmash owns any portion of Versatile anymore, but at one point they did have ownership. Rostelmash tractor, the Rostelmash tractor that's in the game, is actually this same variant of the tractor itself. So instead of Versatile, it's Rostelmash. Somebody was gracious enough to give us a Versatile variant to go along with their New Holland variant that they had. The Ford Agriculture, which would later be known as New Holland, also had stake in Versatile. It's kind of why all these mods have a very specific tractor, but as you can kind of see, I can take a wide turn, I can get this sucker down into the ditch, and it keeps contacting the tires. So unlike the Delta track, it's wide enough, and with 500 horses, I should be able to handle it with this rig, especially with the weight on the front. It stinks to lose the Challenger, but we have the 8S for general yard work, and then we have John Deere 4400 series. It's the only John Deere I have. Oh, there I go. I'm yawning. Boring myself to sleep. So we'll get this thing hooked up to the grain cart. We'll pull the grain cart out to the combine. Get what's left of the grain, if there's any left in the tank. Love all the corn rows. There are farms I go by even here in Maine where you're surrounded by corn on both sides of the road. It's rare, and it's definitely not as vast or flat. You come across it, it throws you for loops. Alright, so one thing to keep in mind, I don't know what this thing's going to be. Wait. I don't know whether I'm going to have an easy time or a difficult time with this particular tractor. But it is one of my more favorite Versatiles, is the where I was just going to buy one that was basically stripped down anything real substantial anyway. It makes more sense to do something like this. Oh, excuse me. I can't stop it. No, that's not going to be possible. I'm at my limit, really. So obviously weight physics have been added to this game, which is making life interesting, discovering what works with what. It's a weight differences now. I think we're going to be able to get away with this. If we're not, I'm going to be sad, because it's going to cost me, by the time I get this sold, it's going to cost me basically everything I have. No way, Jose. Yawns are very, very much easily infectious, I guess. Well, I'll get a better idea when this thing is filled up to the top. Looks like the weight and the tractor are actually going to be enough. This cart, which would be epic, because then I would be done changing out equipment on this farm. See, I just thought about it, and I'm yawning again. Oh, man. I feel like the first person. I don't think you get much of a chance to really eye things from a wide lens. Some of these ones you sit so far back you feel like you're sinking into the back cab corner. And then some of these you feel like you're almost leaned over the steering wheel, pressed into the glass. It's the best way to put those first person. There's about, every time I go with the cart, there's about 50,000 liters in there. So, the cart's been over twice so far, which means we're going to have a little over 103,000, maybe 104,000. Kind of tempted. The trailer's right there, so we get down to the end of this road. This up. I wish I knew what would happen if I put it in. I'd love to put a computer in this. How they would do, but honestly, 3 fields for what I think they'd be good for 2 months. I think July and August they would technically be good for. Let's go take a look at that trailer though. So we don't have any grain silos here. This is all just the dairy yard and feed for the cattle. Okay. So I've got 100,430 liters. Just thinking hold another 150,000 liters before I'm gonna go to the grain silo or grain bin, depending on what you call it. July 2nd is gonna rain, so we don't want to be doing this in July anyway. Let's see, wheat. Yeah, wheat's good July through August. You can tell the orange portions or bars are set up for harvest. The green ones specifically are for planting. And you can see, in this case, corn, sunflower, and soybean all can be harvested from October moving forward, and corn you can even do into December, which is pretty big. You can see we're actually making some money. Water costs are there, so let's see. There are 80 Holstein here. Those are the ones that just gave us our first round of calves. They're producing milk at a decent rate. These Holsteins will give us another 70 cattle tomorrow. Which I'm not sure. We may keep half of those and sell the other half. I'm not sure yet. And then these 40 or 36. Those should hold off on the total. I'm worried about the food levels on this one. Productivity is sitting right at 40% for those cows. That's going to go up as the day goes on. It's like the health has already shot up to nearly 100% already. You can see puberty. Puberty takes a while to actually get through. The animals have to mature for a bit. Alright, well, I'll be honest and say I think I'm going to end it here tonight. I do apologize. I realize wheat harvest is a chance to really see something different. But that's what we're doing here is just a few different things. It's been nearly 2 hours already, and it's midnight now. Yep, it's 1 minute till midnight. So I'm gonna call it, and I'm gonna go get some shut eye and get ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow I've got a busy day planned. If I don't do any farm sim tomorrow, it was very good talking to you, Mama Duck. Thank you for diving on while you're playing your game. If I don't get a chance to play farm sim tomorrow by myself off stream, then I'll just be picking up where the wheat harvest left off right here on the edge of this field. So anyway, have a great night, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all.